well, another exploration in the consciousness of our hub. And we are, how many are we today? 5, 6. We're just going to have a chat and see what's coming up for us, what's going on, hurricanes, you know, earthquakes in Cyprus, apparently what I've been hearing. It's getting cold here in London as well, and my internet connection is unstable. So I hope we're all good. And so how's everyone doing?
Good.
Feeling better now. Just ate a peanut butter sandwich.
Oh, I just ate my oatmeal. It was my breakfast.
Yeah, well,
Me too. I had
the right time.
I had oatmeal just a little bit ago as well, and a banana.
I had a banana too. That's interesting.
We had the same breakfast.
Yeah, from the west to the east.
But did you know that the Queen of England? I was looking up something and it popped up that the Queen of England, her breakfast apparently every day is cereal and a cup of Earl Grey tea, and she would have a sandwich with jelly and butter sandwich every day. It was one of our favorite sandwiches. So I found that quite interesting, because when I was little and my mom would send me to school, sometimes she doesn't know what to give me for lunch to take, and she would give me that same kind of sandwich, butter and jelly, and I used to love it. And as I was reading the article last night, and I'm thinking, I know just what you mean. I could taste it in my mouth, the butter and jelly.
I think, Lana, you must have some royal blood in you then. What is going on? Spit it out.
On homemade bread.
Yeah.
So, Jen, did you do your show? You said you had a show. Oh, not a show. What do you call it? A market or something where you
I had
sold
an
your.
expo. Yeah, there's a metaphysical expo that we have every September in Knoxville called the Crystal and Light Expo, which I did it last year for the first time, and I sold some of my sketches and I did Akashic Records readings. And this year I have like my paintings out on the table, and then I did Akashic Records readings and Marconics no touch sessions. And I ended up only having like 20 minutes the whole day where I wasn't actually in session. So I missed a bunch of people that were wanting to buy paintings. So they had asked me to put them on my website where they could like buy them online afterwards. So I did that. But yeah, I did like 15 sessions on Saturday. It's a really packed event. I felt like I'd been microwaved though. Like I was cooked afterward.
I could imagine.
Stretch to the limit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when you say you do Akashic Records readings, how do you do them? What do you do when you do those? Do one.
Well, how do I do them? I have like an opening prayer that was part of the way I had learned how to do it. And if people have specific questions, then I ask their questions, or I get kind of like a soul reading for them, and I try to like pull information that would help them know like what their gifts are, what they do to assist people, and like what would help them push themselves forward. So I'm no Andrew Bartzis, but I do enjoy doing readings.
So do you use, have you ever used your drawing creativity for it? Have you ever, like, you know, I've had once that somebody did a drawing of me, like it was a reading through drawing something, you know, my soul or my aura or whatever. I can't remember what she drew. You ever done that?
Not quite like that, but like in Reiki sessions, you know, you get information. And in one of my clients, she has this horse that always comes, which the horse has grown into Pegasus over time. But like, I don't know, her second or third session with me, I drew her horse for her so she could see it. And then she wanted me to do an acrylic pour for her, so I did last week, and Pegasus came out of it. Like, I love the acrylic pours because so many faces and shapes will come out of them, and Pegasus came out of her, so that was neat.
Interesting. That's
I
what
can't take credit for that though.
well, that's what we, I think, anyone who has seen Jen's art, there's always a lot going on in there. Lots and lots and lots of different animations in there, I have to say.
Thank you.
Lots of very mystical beings that are coming through.
Yeah, but Jen, I can see her face has changed so much. You look like a younger or something. Your face has a lot of light, like a very bright energy on Jen's face.
Thank you.
It's amazing. Completely different face. Are you sure you didn't go to one of those planets or galaxy and come back?
No, mine still be cooked from Saturday though. I actually glowed Sunday. Like, I took a picture of myself just to see them. Like, I had been microwaved. Holding that kind of energy all day, it'll radiate out for a couple of days.
Yeah, you are a completely different face. I see.
It's well, that's the home version. That's Jen's home version. She always looks different when she's at work. She's different. Remember me saying that last time. Totally different Jen. We've got two Jen versions here.
Wow.
I agree with you, Martina. When she's home, she looks different. When she's at work, she's more businesslike, and
Oh my goodness.
you don't see her smiling or anything like that. Today she's smiling.
That's very cool. Kind of changing personality and face at the same time.
I'm more relaxed at home for sure. I don't have as many people pulling on me for various things. So.
Yeah, very different. That's funny.
I wanted to say I hadn't seen Hermenia since I saw the show, but on, I don't know, a couple comedy shows ago, you got pulled to comment, and you were talking about showing a house and there being kids playing, and that somebody called the police because they thought something was wrong because they heard kids playing, and that really processed with me that not only are people not accustomed to hearing that sound anymore, people just having fun and like kids just playing, but they're not that tolerant of it anymore either.
Oh,
that people get really annoyed when anybody makes any noise. So I loved how the sound of kids playing affected you in a really positive way, and sure to see that contrast. I wanted to tell you that.
Yes, thank you. I was joy. I had so much joy inside me. It was amazing. And you know how, and I guess I feel good about myself at the way how I approach the police. I saw them part of the program that they had to do their job, and then just they had to do their job. And then for me it was so kind of fascinated, like a scene from the with neutral, with no judgment. It was kind of interesting experience and make me so much laugh. I was laughing all evening and afternoon. Kind of interesting. That's what I was so too. People are afraid to enjoy life. It's amazing. We're looking to be happy and then we're afraid to be happy. Just, I don't know. It's what I mean. There's something wrong with these people over there because there's laughing and enjoy life. There's something wrong over there. That was my feeling. It didn't make sense.
So how did the police react when they came over and they found out you were showing the house to this family with children?
They said, "I'm sorry, man. We just, we having cold. We had to come in and say, yes, I know. I'm sorry that they wasted your time." I was laughing with them. I was laughing to them because they was looking at me. I was by myself and they came, and then the family already gone, just like 2 minutes after they left. The police came, and then I explained to them. And I give you one of my business card and, a flyer from the house. And, there was like a, wow, there was like a, like a loss because they were expecting maybe somebody afraid or somebody mad about it. But I was so enjoying the show, I can say it. It was for me, it was kind, wow. I would never expect somebody call the police because there was somebody kids playing in the patio and laughing. It was for me, it was like a shocking experience. And the way that I managed to be neutral, it kind of with compassion at the same time, because I know we all are in the burning in this bowl, and then I feel more compassion and understood that they're just part of the program. And the neighbor that was afraid of kids being laughing, was, I feel sorry for them too, but I don't feel attached, for judgment. I think that gave me a release, a freedom feeling. That's what the way I felt. Yeah, interesting. It's like Jen said, people are afraid. People are afraid to somebody laughing. It's kind of interesting because laughing is like a natural healing.
Yes.
I remember one time I was doing a meditation with a guy from Mexico. He was thinking, since he was a little, Kai, I think is his name. He had connection with the mother wave, the wave from Arctica, the Arctica. And I remember that Andrew mentioned that they make some sound, and those sound can be teletransported from the planet to another dimension, another galaxy. And then and when I was doing the meditation, I heard because on that time I was suffering a lot for a lot of stuff that was happening in my life. And when I had connected with the whale, and I said, because he called the whale mother whale, the one that is in the Arctica, and they brought like a water to different area in like from the Arctica, they brought water to North America, some part in Europe, to hear the water. It was a process a long time ago. And I did a meditation in the whale, and my meditation came to me, said that we humans suffer and our face get, wrinkle, that you can see the people that suffering in people's face, because she told me that we have like a crystal between the jaw here in this section, she showed me. And that's because we bring all the suffering and all our feeling into our face. That's why our face show in people when you see people sad or and then she told me that's why we are so deteriorated, because we bring all those feeling in our face. It was kind of interesting, and I understood that laughing is completely a natural healing, automatic. And then when Andrew mentioned about it, I said, oh my God, that's really interesting, because it's the same thing I saw in my meditation with the whale, the mother whale from Arctica, from the Arctica. And it's laughing because then is they afraid, because let's say, imagine that you have so many people laughing. And like when Andrew said, there's so many people concentrated in the same, like, those music or festival or the concert, that they can bring the energy so high because everybody's happy and laughing. If we can get some people laughing in happiness and bring that joy. And Andrew was revealed what he was in a baseball station, a baseball game, right? Where everybody was cheering, cheer up, enjoying that classic moment in time and space, that he was able to bring all what he was and knew everything over there, and everybody admired from that baseball area. And for the game it was here in Queen, in the
Cleveland.
yeah.
Cleveland, yeah.
And then it makes sense that I said, wow, it makes sense that that's why the system is afraid. I said the system because I don't want to point the finger to anybody. The system is afraid that we remember that laughing and joy can melt anything that we have. And then I guess that's why people are afraid or concerning when somebody have fun and feel uncomfortable. That's what my thinking that neighbor felt uncomfortable that this kid was enjoying the patio and the area in the house so much. That was my only, take away from that the whole system that we are structured in this system of suffering and worry, and panic. And then if we laugh, then it's the opposite what's supposed to be. That's what the way I see, and I don't know what you think about that, but that's the way I feel myself.
What does make you guys laugh? What or who or what makes you laugh? Because I was just thinking about this the other day. I was thinking, thinking about my daughter, because when she comes and visits, she really makes me laugh, but not from a place of wanting to make me laugh. She's got this weird innocence around her, asking the most ridiculous questions, totally out of place. And I'm like, what is this? It makes no sense. And then, it's not like funny. I'm not one of those people who can laugh about jokes. It tells me a joke, it's like, no, not laughing. It's like, what? I can't laugh. It's not funny. But what's that kind of, what makes you laugh? Well, what makes you
You
laugh?
make it.
Well,
Just talking about laughter makes me laugh.
It's a contagious because we can see that we are connected because it's something that we can feel it instantly, right? That's why the whale was telling me that with the laugh we can release, or like for myself, I was able to release all that pain, all that suffering I had in my life. And I had to learn how to laugh because at that time I couldn't laugh. Oh, because I had so much pain and sorrow and suffering, guilt, all that kind of crazy thing. And I couldn't laugh because if I laugh, I feel pain here in this area. And I guess that's why the whale revealed to me that point for me that was necessary. And I understood now. I laugh about everything, even for myself. When my daughter was coming from school, when she was little, I think she was laughing. I said, because the kid was laughing about herself, well, you laugh about them. And then when you laugh too about yourself, nobody want to joking on you or anything. And because the laugh is like a cutting edge, or I don't know, like a laser, like a cutting laser because you can see somebody, if you smile to somebody that is in the street, and you can see the face of worry or sadness or whatever. If you laugh, instantly you can see the change. And I guess it's something like it's an interconnection, like a light energy at the same time, right? Because it's involuntary. You don't have to put the intention to do it. It's just automatic, right? That's the way I see myself.
So laughter
So I
is
have,
my, go ahead, Lana.
I have this one experience that I have. So I would go to the supermarket and by the counter where they sell the meats and stuff like that. There was this one guy that worked at the back of the counter there, and whenever I would go over the months, he's always so serious all the time. I've never saw him with a smile or even a trickle of a smile on his face. He's always so serious. So one day I said, oh, I'm going to get you today. So I went up to the counter and I asked him for something there. And then I said to him, don't you ever smile? I said, every time I come to the supermarkets here and I walk by here, you're always so serious. When are you going to smile? I said, can you please smile for me? The minute I said, can you please smile for me? He started laughing. He couldn't help himself that I called him out on this. And ever since then, whenever I would see him and I would go by there, I said, keep smiling. And he would burst out laughing. But he no longer works there.
that's the
Eventually, he left the
opposite.
job.
Left. He was worried that you'd come back in and you had to laugh again.
Make them smile.
Yeah. And
Maybe one of
this
the code
summer,
words.
when they had the greenhouse at one of the markets outside, and one day I went to get something there, and this the person, the regular cashier, was not there, was a woman, and she was really nice. And so this day when I went, there was a guy sitting behind the cashier's counter, and he was really, really, really serious. Not a smile on this guy's face. So I told him what I wanted, and so I said, "You'll have to help me with it to load it into my vehicle." So he said, "Okay, I'll come out and help you with that." So we got to my vehicle, and I brought it over, and he's loading the vehicle, and I said to him, "Don't you ever smile?" I said, "I try to make a joke with you when I walked in the door about the water running outside, and you were being logical about it and tell me why the water is running. But I was just joking about it." And I said to him, "But don't you ever smile at all?" And the minute I said that to him, he started laughing because I called him out on this too, about laughing. And so one day I was in the supermarket and I saw him walk by me just recently. And I said to him, "Do you remember me?" And he's looking at me, and I'm like, "I was the girl who was talking to you outside in the greenhouse area, and I asked you if you never smile, or don't you ever smile with anybody?" And I said, "Keep on smiling." And he looked at me, and he gave me a little smile, and he walked away. I felt like he felt unhappy about it that I
So guys, when you
confronted him again.
That's going to be your
when you laugh,
yeah, that's going to be your weapon, Lana. Laugh, make people laugh.
The laughing whip, right? The laughing whip.
Exactly.
which part of the body do you laugh with?
Me?
Anyone? Or does it differ depending on what kind of laugh you're having?
I think for me, it depends on how big the laugh is. Like if
Yeah.
you continue laughing for a long period, your whole body will be in
Yeah.
laughter. But if it's just a short joke or something like that, I mean, you're laughing with your face and your head and everything. Then it travels down the body.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had a jaw pain laughing from the jaw, the head?
Yes.
That's the
I've had,
best.
I've had stomach pain from laughing when I was much, much younger. Remember me and my cousins, we would sit around and joke about boys and stuff like that, and we would laugh so hard. And we would have stomach cramps from laughing so hard. Those were the best laughs.
Those are the best laughs.
Mhm.
But
But
one time,
Jen, you
sorry.
wanted to say something? Sorry, Harmony.
No, it's fine. Go ahead. I'll say after you finish.
My share is probably not as nice as yours, Lana, though. So, like, I have to associate things with something that will make me laugh, like as a coping mechanism when I have to deal with people that I don't really enjoy their company. So, like, there was a guy that I used to work with in my old company. He's like over 7 feet tall, big guy, really loud from Chicago, like fits when he talks. Everything is like a major thing. So I would associate him with like Sweetums from the Muppets, like the big ogre. So like when Jim would come to visit, I could listen to what he said, but I would laugh because I would think of like Sweetums talking to me. And like I had a boss that made too big of a deal out of everything. So like his ringtone was Morrissey's "I'm Throwing My Arms Around." So like whenever he would call, like I would laugh because that song would make me think of Jerry like throwing his arms around. So like when there's things that are unpleasant for me, I have to associate them with something funny so that like it's nothing to me anymore.
Yes,
It diffuses the negative implications.
Exactly. That's why that's so powerful.
So I laugh at everything.
Yeah. And you know that now, like, remember that one day I was laughing. I was thinking about something that would happen. I went to walk in the woods side, There's a lot of trees in the area where I live now. And then something that happened that remind me to laugh. And I was laughing in the beginning, like forcing myself to laugh. And just a few seconds later, I was laughing from my belly. I know. And I was remember that the second chakra is for like, you know, those energy are like over there, like stuck. And I was putting my mind over there in that bottom of my belly. And then I felt the laughing from inside. It was kind of interesting because when I got home and I look at my phone, the situation that I was thinking about, it was already resolved. I said, oh my goodness, this kind of magic. And that's how I gotta laugh more frequently. And every time I have something like that, looking like a some of those you know show from the 80s that they laugh, but you can see it was so natural. Not like on this day that you can see like a, you know, they have back sound for laughing and clap. And I look for those kind of show to force myself to laugh, because as I understand now that it's very important for me to laugh when I have something, a challenge or something that is I'm worried about it. It's the way how I get out of that song of, you know, worry or concerning, taking too serious and so important that really nothing is so important in life, really. It's just the matter how I see it. And that's helping me a lot.
So what is that expression? What is that word when you take, you know, the first letters of a word and you make acronym?
I think so.
Something like this, yeah. So let's use laugh and make what, you know, let's use the acronym of laugh. Is that, can we say that? The word, and find words that we can associate with the various letters. So L. All I'm hearing, as we're saying love, I'm hearing love.
Liberation for me.
Liberation.
I was thinking lively.
Lively. La la la.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. Liberation, lively. What about the A?
Accessing.
Accessing, access.
Activation for me.
Activation, I like it. Activation.
And action.
Action.
Awareness.
Achievement.
Achievement.
I think Jim said something about awareness. That was he saying?
Awareness.
Okay.
Awareness. Cool. What about the U?
Unique.
Unique.
Unity.
Unity.
Unrestricted.
Unrestricted.
Universal.
Universal. What about the G?
Galactic.
Galactic.
Gracious. Good.
Grace.
Ground.
And gate. Gate, like an opening.
Like a portal. Gratitude.
Gratitude, yes. Goodness.
Goodness.
Yeah.
What about the H?
Happy.
Happy.
Happy and happiness. Harmony.
Harmony.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know why I feel hollow. If I feel hollow, that's mean everything that is there had to get out.
What, a halo? A halo, a halo, halo.
Like halo, like a H is a HALOW, like when something is empty. I thought, what's that word? It's not a, oh, it's
Hollow.
oh yeah, yes. Thank you. I think I couldn't get it.
Halo works also, and Halo.
Mhm.
Heaven.
And hello.
Hello in heaven.
And
Do you know?
we say harmony?
Yeah,
Okay.
harmony, yes. And you know, we didn't get one negative as we, you know, define negativity.
Yeah.
Let's think of something. Let's think of each of one. Let's think of a negative for the L.
Okay.
Lots.
This is reminding me of Mad Libbing.
Huh?
Did you guys ever do Mad Libs?
No.
Like where you just fill in, like you just have to, it's like a story and then you have to fill in the blanks with random words, but you don't know what the story is, and then the story ends up so funny.
Mm,
It's
Oh.
kind of like what we're doing.
mm.
Well,
So a negative for L would be lonely,
lonely,
Mm.
lazy,
lazy.
And the only thing I can sing low. I don't know if it's low. That's a negative. Low, LOW.
lowly,
Lost.
Lost. Okay, thanks for that, Sean, because we're gonna actually do that just now. But A, let's find something negative for A. Remember all these words. I've written it down.
Apathetic.
Asshole.
I was thinking the same thing.
Which one? Which song is that one?
Apathy.
Oh, okay.
Anger.
Anger. Unique. The U. Let's find something negative for the U.
Ugly,
Ugly.
Unhappy.
Unhappy. G for the G. I can't think of any negative. What's going on? G.
Gaudy.
Garbage. Gobby. Garbage.
gargoyle,
Not bad.
Gargle. Guilt.
Guilt.
Guilt. Okay, and the H?
Harass.
Harass. What?
That's what came to my
Harass?
mind first. Yeah.
Harass.
Horse shit.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I'm not entirely sure this is what you meant, Sean, but we're going to start off, we're going to create a laugh story. I'm going to start kicking it off, and then whoever feels inclined takes over and carries on. And if you want to use some of the words that we've just thrown up, then we can. And if you want to use other ones, so that's fine too, yeah? So let me get started here. So, galactic, liberation, and horse shit are going to a bar. Feeling really, really thirsty today, particularly horse shit. Really, really dry mouth, not feeling very happy at all. There's a universal unhappiness that horse shit is spreading. galactic and liberation, I'm not entirely sure how to deal with that. So that's why they thought. So they go up to the counter and sit down and order a drink. And Galactic is getting a blue, very sparkly cocktail with a cherry on top. Liberation is drinking a tonic, just a gin and tonic. And horse shit has no idea what to choose. You're very happy to carry on the story. Anyone who wants to move on with that now.
So they began telling stories of liberation and unfettered galactic history. And horseshit. Sean, you laugh at your yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Guys, get the stick. There's the
You carry on.
baton.
Anyone?
Yeah, it has a stick.
In horseshit, while talking about all the galactic liberation and history, started laughing out of the blue. And his long face turned into a big Lana. That's no, you're up. It didn't turn into you.
So horseshit is just bullshitting Galactic and the liberation guy. And so horseshit came up with this idea that liberation is all bullshit. No one can ever be liberated and be free. And Galactic is saying to him, "Oh, what makes you think so? I've been around longer than you've been around. I've been around forever. Who created you, horseshit? That's what I'd like to know. Where did you come from?" And Liberation is saying, yeah, go for it, Galactic. Question him. Where did he come up with all this bullshit that he's sharing with us, and telling us about all this harsh shit that's going on here? So anyway, they started laughing, all three of them at the same time, and they forgot what they were talking about. So Liberation was drinking his gin and tonic, and he was getting a little tipsy now. So he's feeling like he wants to pick a fight with somebody in the bar. And so he doesn't know who she should, go up to. But he saw some grays sitting in the back of the bar somewhere. And he's saying to Galactic, "You think we should go up there and create some horseshit over there with them?" So I'm passing the stick to Harmania now.
I think she just left.
Oh. Well, I'm passing the stick to Martina. I think Martina is frozen
Good for you,
inside.
phrase.
Am I back? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I back now? Yeah, okay. So Liberation and Galactic just sitting down nonchalantly, and just wanting to impress the Greys, because that's basically what Galactic is doing all the time. It's trying to impress. And
You're frozen again.
So again,
You were
I'm
frozen.
freezing. So
Impress the grays and then liberation.
Grace. And then so liberation doesn't have a point of view, right? She's not prejudiced about anything, and she's just like, okay, let's go, you know. So she just asks questions. Who are you guys? What are you doing here, you know? Would you like to join us for a galactic liberation, because that's what we're actually working on.
Frozen again, Martina. You can hear us.
I don't know. Maybe, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Are you back? Am I back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Let me just open a door and see if that helps.
Come on, little internet. Just blow through the door. Come on. Join us.
Not necessarily impressed with galactic and liberation having this sort of serious conversation now, because that whole shit is like, oh, what the hell, this leaves me out. I've come here, you're supposed to cheer me up, right? And now we're talking about galactic liberation on this planet Earth, right? So what is this all about? Now the Greys, they're actually quite interested in having this conversation, because part of them being there in the pub is actually to find
You're frozen again.
so the Greys just basically somebody else talk. Take over. Take over.
So the others really wanted to lighten the mood and get back to something that was more in line with drinking and having fun. And so they started by telling stories of times past, times when things weren't so restricted and there wasn't so much cloudiness going on. They started to talk about writing a manual to help people stay light and friendly, and how to keep the fun and the joy in life instead of taking everything so seriously. I'll pass it back to Sean.
And the Greys said that's a really good idea. Like if we had a manual, we'd actually go into one of those bodies instead of one of these little gray bodies, because we're actually extremely frightened of you guys horseshit liberation and galaxy or galaxy, because we don't know how we'd even handle any of the shit that you guys do. So we would really like, we want that manual. Let's make it.
So Liberation says, hang on a second. Have you guys watched Earth Nouveau? Do you know those weekly shows? There's this guy, he's called Sean Bibi or something. Yeah, he's one of those guys. He's actually done one of those manuals. Maybe we should get, him to join that conversation. And then Horst should have, oh my God, I know this guy. No, let's not even think about it. He lives in Canada. What do you want? What do you expect from a guy who lives in Canada, right? That's just not on. Total horseshit. We're not doing it. What else?
Poke you with needles.
And he's got needles, exactly. And I think that's really what the problem was. This is why horse shit came up with this horse shit, to talk about him with the prejudice like that, because he was scared of the needles, because obviously he's been watching Earth Nouveau on a weekly basis, knowing that this guy is training to be an acupuncturist. So the gray obviously is totally confused. And I said, what's going on here? You know, there's no coherence in any of that horse shit. You know, I thought you guys are learning to become more coherent on this planet. That's what I've been told. And now I'm just hearing one opinion against the other. So what is going on? Liberation. So he is inquiring further into this.
So Galactic is saying to them, well, I know all the information here because, you know, I've been watching you Grays for a number of years, how you've been coming with your little spaceships, you know, and you've been flying around at night when these humans are sleeping, and you kind of, you know, wait until they fall asleep, and then you come in quietly and you sneak in their bedrooms, and then you know, you steal them out of their beds and you take them onto your ship and you do all kinds of horse shit with them, you know? And then you think I'm not watching. I've been watching you all these millions of years, what you guys have been doing. And if you guys think you're so innocent, then I know better. And then you bring them back, and then they wake up in the morning and they find all kinds of marks on their bodies. And they're wondering where the heck did this come from? And then they go and they do, you know, they go and find a shaman to get some clearing done. And then the shaman tells them, oh, you've been stolen by an alien Gray. And they took you off on their ship and they did this, this, and this, and that to you. And then they brought you back. And here you have no memory of it. So Galactic is saying, shaking his head, and I wonder how this is going to go down. And so they're sitting there and they're all having their drink and they're shaking their heads and they're pondering about this stuff. Like, what's up next? So I passed the stick back to one of you.
So then they become aware of their sovereignty, and they realize that this interference can't happen without their consent. And so they lay down their rules and they declare their sovereignty and state their free will for their record. And they write that into the manual so that people that come after them don't have to go through some of the same experiences that they did.
And the Grays, they were just like, wait. We thought you guys wanted this experience. And that's why we drew it all up on the paper and the lines and the contracts, because we thought you wanted these weird, cooped up experiences to have. If you didn't want that, crap, well, sorry.
We were going to do it to the cats, but the cats said no.
The cats gave us the big middle paw. I know.
I didn't want to disturb her because I thought she had to be part of this conversation, you know. And she's showing me her ass now. You're sitting there like, come on, guys, and you record that shit. So horse shit, yeah, and I definitely need to drink now because, you know, he's completely lost in that conversation. It's just not his kind of conversation. So he's going large. He's gonna get himself a proper whiskey now, you know. Neat. Just to loosen up a little bit, you know, and let go of his shit and actually step into the horse and be the energy that he truly can be. And as soon as he has his first sip, it's almost like, you know, it doesn't take long, you know, he swallows and it goes through the throat and into the intestines, and all of a sudden there's this huge transformation, right? And everything changes around horse shit, and it's almost like there's just no ways you can identify him as horse shit anymore, because he's turned into something completely different. Now there's the gray, and he's like, whoa, what's going on here? You know, I mean, we have technology, but shit, I've never seen anything like that. What is going on? And Galactic says, well, you know, I mean, that's human technology, right? It doesn't matter how much shit you talk and how little you acknowledge the greatness that you truly are. It only sometimes takes that tiny little sip. It doesn't have to be whiskey. That tiny little gulp of something that turns everything around for you to really step into something that you had no idea that you could be. Now there's liberation. Yeah, okay, well, yes. I've been teaching that for how long, guys? You know, why don't we all get pissed, you know, and see what else we can create?
So they turned to the Greys and they said, so what's your names? You guys use names? And the Greys said, yes, we do use names. This is Gary and this is Barry. So here we are, Gary and Barry.
Here's my other
Gary
cousin.
and Barry. To the reality that horse wove.
And then they all go get drunk and spend the rest of the night in the bar until they get thrown out, of course, you know.
Wait. They didn't get thrown out yet. There's more to the story.
Oh.
So horseshit got transformed. But what did horseshit got transformed into? Horseshit got transformed into this beautiful light. That's the horse energy coming in. So horseshit is no longer, you know, bullshitting around. It's become this beautiful horse energy. And it's wanting to come true because horse shit heard liberation, you know, doing this revocation about horses and the equine community. And so horseshit was pondering all that. Now horseshit is like, you mean you've been talking about me all the time, me and my peoples? So horseshit is glowing really bright now with all this beautiful light. It's hard to see in the bar. The bar is all bright again with all this beautiful light reflecting off of horseshit, you know? And he's beginning to draw attention to himself. And so now the dark, cozy bar suddenly becomes this bright, energetic room. And you can see all these other alien species who are sitting in the different corners of the room. They're just like turning their head and they're looking over at horseshit. It's like, what the F is going on over there? We better join this conversation and see what's happening so we can, you know, take it back to our newsroom and our worlds, you know, and spread this information that's taking place on, you know, on Earth here. So I'm going to pass the stick to Jennifer.
So they all watched this magical transformation of horseshit. And Liberation takes a step back and thinks, I taught him that. All he had to do was drop the shit, and he grew into the most beautiful version of himself and flew off. I can do that too. And so as he dropped all of the things that he didn't need to carry anymore, he hatched into this enormous dragon. And with one giant flame that he breathed out to let the rest of the horse shit go, he also flew off into the ethers.
And just like that, he dropped the T-I, H, and S and became horse and flew off like dragon.
So
who thought he was a unicorn?
So liberation and horseshit basically went left, and Galactic was left in the bar with all the aliens, with all the otherworldly, right? So
So we wrote down the story and recorded it in the Earth Akashic record for all sentient kind. Right?
But before we do that, there's one more thing they want to do, because Galactic has a brilliant idea. Galactic says, you know what, guys, I'm so proud of you for showing up and joining us here. But there's one thing on Earth that you have to do that you've never had, being in all these other worlds and different planets. I'm going to take you to Idaho, because I know a chick there and she makes the best bread ever. And before you leave and go back to wherever you came from, I need you to have a taste of that bread that Lana is making. So they're all going to leave, go straight to Lana's place. And she, of course, her psychic abilities have already switched on. So she already knows that she's got a huge off-world delegation coming, led by Galactic. So she's already got about 5 or 6 buns in the oven. So when they come, she just needs to take them out and present them so that they can have a beautiful earthly celebration. I hope.
That's the
So they
story
came-
of how horse shit became horse.
and
wrote it into the Akashic record.
and all the Galactics ate Lana's bread.
With butter and jelly.
Butter and jelly, that's right.
With marmalade and with jelly and butter, exactly.
And an Earl Grey.
And
And Earl Grey tea.
Bear watching. He came as well. Paddington Bear rocked up as well, knocking on the door. Hey, you can't have jam and butter sandwich without me being there.
And SpongeBob. SpongeBob showed up. for the party.
SpongeBob, yes.
It was a party.
Oh God.
So now my home is full
A mess.
of all these alien races. My yard is full with all these alien races. I see down the street spaceships parked on the street corner, and my neighbors are coming out and they're like, what the heck is going on over there? What's happening? And the neighbors are like,
Herminia's
befuddled.
neighbors call the cops.
Yes, and
There's a
the neighbors
galactic
call the
party there.
cops.
They're having too much fun. What is going on? We can't have that.
We got to report all these alien ships. What is this going on here? We got to call in, the big guns here and let them sort this out and see what's going on, because we're supposed to report this stuff when we see them, right? And so my galactic friends, being that they're so brilliant, they decided that, they're going to create this this bubble of reality around our space. So when the neighbors look in, they can't see anything. The street is normal. Everything that they're used to seeing is normal. So all they could see is just a house sitting there on an empty yard. There's nothing going on. And they're like thinking to themselves, wait a minute, something is going on here. I just saw a whole bunch of spaceships parked on the road. I saw a whole bunch of weird looking beings, hanging around my house. And they're like shaking their head, and like they went back into their house and they all went for the booze. And they all decided, oh shit, I'm going to have something harder to drink than just Mountain Dew.
Bunch of pissheads.
But they all had a good drink.
And we tell them it was just a dream. It was all just a dream.
It was all just a dream. Yeah.
And
It's
since
all just a dream.
Tanya's not here, I'll show the crystal.
Oh, beautiful. What
Mm.
kind of, that's a clear quartz, right?
Clear quartz is my favorite,
Oh,
but it'll contribute to the story because it's what created the hologram, so that all the muggles forgot all about it and remembered it's just a dream.
it's just a dream.
It's
Fantastic.
just a dream.
Fantastic.
I like that.
And that's a good lead into the next question. What are the dreams about? How are you doing in the dream world?
So I had this when I woke up the other morning, this song was playing in my head, and I haven't heard this song in like a long time. It's called "The Last Waltz," that Engelbert Humperdinck song, and the tune started playing in my head out of nowhere, and the very beginning of the song started out like this: I wonder, should I go or should I stay? But there's only one more song to play. And I thought about that. I wonder, should I go or should I stay? But then there's only one more song to play. Then I saw you out the corner of my eyes, a little girl alone and so shy. I had the last waltz with you, two lonely people together. And I'm thinking, I remember the message that Laura introduced, where she got a message from the universe. You guys remember that message?
Mhm. There was something about the last dance.
Yes. And I said, this has got to have some connection to Laura's message about the last dance. And when I went over the lyrics again, and I'm thinking, but there's only one more song to play. So are we on the final song here? The last dance, the last waltz should last forever.
We're in the final song of the fifth world of peace almost, or I don't know if you can we take the fifth world of peace and equate it to the fifth root race? There is some sort of correlation, because with the fifth root race, we're coming towards the end. There's always, the beginning of it, and then to the end, into the sixth root race, which is very much the Aquarian age, beginning of that, where we are merging with our physical and soul, becoming that Illuminatis, human Illuminus, whatever, that kind of thing. So I like it because, obviously without going into a black and white state, you could say we're coming to the end. We're transitioning from the Pisces age into I'm sure there will be lots more dances, but on some level, I like it. It would work. It would work until the dance changes, and there will be more dancing, I'm sure, but it will be slightly more illuminated dancing and more integrated, with a much more of a psychic awareness and a physical sort of coordination. Because let's think about it, it's so funny because we're working backwards, right? There was a time where we had etheric bodies and tried to become, good in working our physical bodies. And it took us ages. And we, were these like huge beings to become the beings that we're now. And now we're like so solidified, so crystallized in the physical body that we completely forgot that, yeah, we know how to live in an etheric body. But now the thing is, okay, how can we dance? How can we choreograph that dance that has the physical and the spiritual partner? how can spiritual and physical partner dance as one? So I like the analogy of a dance with that.
Well, if you think about it, this point, this particular time that we're in is so precious, because it's the last dance. There's only one more song to play, according to the lyrics, there's only one more song to play. So this is the most precious moment, because think about when you go to a party and you know that you're having fun and the party is coming to an end. You want that last dance to be the longest song.
So you put on a Weird Al song that's 20 minutes. No, I just joke.
Yeah, it's like horse shit, before he drinks that drop of whiskey and turns into something else. And he can never go back.
Yeah,
He literally can't go back.
exactly. So you want to play it out as long as you can,
Admire it for the moment that it is, because that's what it is right now. It's this crazy magical moment, and we should be grateful for it, because it's pretty cool
Yeah.
as we transition into the next long magical moment.
I'll stand under correction, because we can never go back is obviously horseshit, because we can. All we need to do is use our focus and we're right back there. We do it all the time, right? Because we are
Really?
time travelers, right? So it's really that appreciation, what choice really means. I think we said last week we had a much more mind conversation. That's why it's really nice to have something slightly different, but equally okay. So let's do one thing. So we have the chakra system, right? We play with the chakra system. We all know what the chakras are, but also we have this division in our physical body. We've got the head, and then we've got the torso, the 3 chakras, and then we got the lower 3 chakras, that what some call the lower personality. Now, we've been playing with laughter, but play with anything. Think of anything that maybe something that makes you laugh, and when you laugh from your belly, and think of the body being divided into 3. Yeah, so here, cut off here, head, we've got the throat and the abdomen, and then we've got the heart and the solar plexus and the throat, and then we have the lowers. So now let's do something in our mind's eye, and this is why we need the mind for the focus. Okay, now we just take the lower 3 chakras, the root, the sacrum, and the solar plexus, and swap it with the head and the throat. No, just do it and see how.
I'm doing it, sorry.
How does that feel?
It feels upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But does it feel like, no, I can't do that? Or does it feel like, yeah, okay.
Feels playful, but just like, I'm almost like you're bent over in yoga. It just feels like you're inverted. It's fun.
Lana, how do you feel?
The same as Jen is saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you bend over and your head is like below your,
Mm-hmm.
your root, by your knees or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Because so let's take the head and put it in the middle. So we got the root, the sacrum up there, and the solar plexus. Then we got the head, and then we put the throat and the heart on the floor, on the ground. How does that feel?
Like a Picasso.
Say again?
Like a Picasso. Like it just feels like
yeah.
just moving it around.
How does that feel? That for me doesn't feel so comfortable. For some reason. I'm not sure why, but feels slightly uncomfortable?
It's like looking at the world upside down.
It's quite an interesting, weird, of course, contemplation though, because what does it do by no longer having the head up here, showing it to everyone? All of a sudden the head's like where the root is, and so let's do one more thing. The head's back up, and we're swapping just one chakra now, just the root chakra. Now bring the root chakra into the heart. We're not going to swap the heart. We leave the heart where it is. Just going to bring the root into the heart. How does that feel?
It says, whoa, look how tall I am.
Feels grounding.
Grounding?
Brings it to laughing energy.
It's interesting because it's just one of those metaphorical games, to play with, but it's quite amazing how everything sort of changes. And this one thing that the root is going to come into the heart I've been waking up with that. And I do remember AB saying that years ago, the root chakra coming into the heart. And for the last couple of days, it's been on my mind. And what does it actually mean? We know what it means, right?
In Marconics, one of the protocols is like a quantum recalibration. And they say that like our chakra systems are tampered with to limit our potential so that we can't fully remember and we can't fully grow. And so that we have effectively these dampeners on each of our chakras that restrict its potential. And you can see that in how we depict the chakras as being conical, but they come in through restriction at the spine, right? And so in the recalibration protocol, you remove those dampeners and you rebalance the chakras so that they return to a spherical shape.
Mm-hmm.
And while they're still centered where we know them, they're different sizes. And so they overlap and they're all nested within the heart chakra. The heart chakra is the largest one. Mm-hmm. And so in that theory, the root would already be integrated with the heart chakra because it's nested within. And you can start to see in the people that you recalibrate when you work on them, you can start to see almost a bleeding of colors between the chakras, so that when you go back and you do energy work on them, where you would have just seen yellow at the solar plexus, now there's orange and red and green intermixing with it as well. So there's a modality that ties into what you're saying.
Yes. I've been looking at the rays a little bit over the last couple of days, just looking at, I haven't really done much, into that. And it got me thinking, because the rays are connected to the various planets and they are connected to the chakras as well, but they're connected very differently to the chakras, and the chakras, is a bit of fun. I've always had fun with, in yoga, doing my meditations and everything, but I've never really, considered them as in black and white, but I think it's really good to start looking at that now with all the changes, because we were saying, like, if this is the last dance, the next level of dancing will be very different. And our bodies, of course, we're talking a couple of thousand years here, but it's like lots of us are already living in the future or thinking in the future, and lots of us gaining and maintaining our motivation through thinking and looking into the future, right? So I think it's really good time to start mixing it up a little bit,
And with mixing and like chakras as light, but I also like to look at them as like our glandular system, our endocrine system, as matter form. But it's just like all those hormones within our body. the light mixes are hormones that also mix. So it's
Yes.
just like a light and physical, but it's all mixing. You know, you mix your lights and your hormones will also mix as they're like a physical counterpart to the light.
Yeah.
So one transforms the other and vice versa,
Yeah. Yeah.
etc. So yeah, it's good mixing.
It's good. Yeah, it's quite fun. And then of
You
course
know,
go.
put your root chakra and your heart chakra, putting your adrenal glands into your thyroid gland. You know, it's like, okay, what are those two mixing up going to do?
I think it's good fun to do that. It's like changing your timeline. And just for a day, it's okay, so today I'm putting my root into the heart, and I'm gonna do my day with that and see how that feels like. Because also I think, when we talk about having no bias, no prejudice, no judgment and everything, just saying that the root is connected to the tailbone, who says? Who says? So we're so grounding through the root. And what made me think is because when I look at the rays, the violet ray is the 7th ray. Yeah. I mean, that's just from, maybe there's different information out there as well.
Rainbows.
Which is connected to the moon, which is sort of connected to ceremony and ritual. And that is connected to the root. Yeah. Whereas the really grounding one in this particular case is actually Saturn. Saturn, the solar plexus. It's like totally different, right? And I'm sure, look, I'm me, guys, I'm not one of those scholars who goes into it for 20 years. I'm seeing something and I pick what I like. But this just made me think,
Absolutely.
this is just like, oh, interesting. So the yellow is the sun. Yeah. Oh, and Saturn, the solar plexus, is actually green in this in the rays, whereas the yellow is sun, is connected to the sun, and it's connected to the heart. So it's all mixed up, and I'm like, whoa, I love it. It's all different, right? So, and I'm sure everything has its origin in some sort of mythology. And be that as it may, it's a matter of an invitation for us to just mix it up.
Definitely got to mix it up. Because
Right.
then you get different points of views and perspectives. But just like, is red, is it really grounded? Or is violet the most grounded because it's actually the source energy? Like, or is red the most ungrounded because it's source disconnection? It's just which way you're going to look at it, up or down,
Yeah.
left or right.
But see, this is the interesting thing now that so many people, start feeling a bit lost because the old the old facts and figures, the old teachings no longer really apply.
So quickly, too. It's like,
So
oh,
quickly.
okay, they're gone. Whatever.
So whilst the integration will take a couple of thousand years until our bodies change and everything, but the mindset is already changing so quickly, right? If, as we know, as we've heard, as we perceive, resonate, whatever, over the next 30 years, we're going to be sitting here and talking about completely different stuff. And we're going to look at our shows and that was horseshit, literally, what you guys were talking about.
Well, I listened to a show recently, and I don't remember which one of the shows it was on. And Andrew was talking about something about the us being now in the Silver Age, right? We are currently in the Silver Age, but we're going to move out of the Silver Age. I think, for my calculation, what he was saying, in another few years, and we will be completely out of the Silver Age and into the Golden Age. So now, when we're talking about the last dance, that's probably what the last dance is, the Silver Age.
Yeah.
Right? And in a few years, we will be completely out of the Silver Age and in the Golden Age. And so what you're talking about, our conversation will be completely different. That'll probably be a fact right there. Right? So
Absolutely.
from thinking about The Last Dance. The Last Dance is actually the Silver Age.
Yeah. But this is why, it is so important to remind ourselves to live in the present moment, because what happens in 30 years time or in 300, 3,000 years time is not necessarily relevant to our lives here right now, because it is the choice moment now that is going to create it to a certain extent, And I think it's going to get interesting once our psychic capacities really kick in. Then we got to really say, okay, now fuck it, how do we stay grounded now? And what does grounding actually really mean? Because this is gonna, we all think we're psychic to a certain extent, but when it's really gonna kick in, it's gonna get really interesting, I would think. And we were talking at the beginning, I can't remember now, I think it was Herminia talking about, the incident, right, with the police coming and everything, and you said something, you stayed in your joy and you had compassion. Mm-hmm. And that's the next level of empathy, that's the next level of no longer being in that kind of judgment place. It's like, yeah, it's okay, they had to phone the police, but I was compassionate towards them because it doesn't really matter, that sort of place. And that always takes us back to the key to all of those changes are not to fall back into I don't want to say polarity, because you know what, I've come to look at polarity from a completely different perspective, this polarization thing. I don't think we're gonna get out of duality, polarity mechanically, ever. As long as we have a soul, because let's really be honest, having a soul is the marriage between matter and spirit. I mean, how much more duality, polarization can you get between matter and spirit, right? And I even if we lose, that's the way I've been contemplating, even if we lose form and we breathe our last breath and we go back into the astral world, we still have a soul imprint. We still have, the Akashic imprint, which I would like to liken to the mind imprint, because I see the mind outside the body. The mind, there is no organ for the mind. I had a conversation with Mary the other day, and we were saying, she said, well, there is no organ for the mind. I said, well, no, because the mind's outside, just like the soul. There's no organ for the soul. The perception, the perceptory or perception comes through the organs, comes through the nervous system. We're bringing the soul, we're bringing the spirit and everything through the cells and all of that, the body system. But the mind itself is non-local. Why am I saying this now? Anyway, that's just something to play with and to look at. So duality is no longer really an issue, as far as I'm concerned. It's no longer a discussion I need to have, because matter, spirit, well, fuck yeah, there is duality. There will always be. So stop judging it, done deal. What's next? That kind of thing.
I don't know, but you're sparking images in my mind for
Good.
like concepts I've been trying to put together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the mind first being in the body or out of the body. But we have our iron that circulates in our circulatory system in our blood, which reacts with the like electromagnetic fields of Earth. So it's just like, it's like our mind circulating in our blood with the iron, but it's also everywhere else at the same time, because it's just part of the greater electromagnetic fields.
I think we just like the duality discussion is going to become a fruitless sort of mental masturbation at some stage. it will be the same with all this other stuff, just like, it's really no point anymore to talk about the right and the left side of brain, right? Because we all know it's all part of everything. So it's like, and I think it's still really important to take and dissociate certain parts for the purpose of healing, for the purpose of understanding and all of that. But for some reason, just from a energetic perspective, it's no longer that. It's all flowing together. It's bleeding into each other now. Do you find that?
Well, yeah, and then you think of it like duality, like you're saying how you kind of like duality, and I do too. But then just think about duality with forgetting and duality with remembering. It's like a completely different thing. Like you can just enjoy being dualistic with your infinite amount of options, with all your memories attached. So you don't have to be like in the darkness all the time doing all this and that, but you just have this cool new human experience.
The difference is stripping out judgment, right? If you don't look at it with judgment, then it just is what it is. And it doesn't divide you.
Absolutely. And the way what helped me do it, I just expanded it out. If you stay in this physical realm, then it's difficult. But I looked at, so what is this duality? It's a marriage between the spirit and matter. Well, okay, how am I get out of this? Well, I'm not, as long as I have a body. And then you look at it and think, oh, I'm not even going to get out if I don't have a body, because I still have a soul imprint. And the soul imprint is very much the duality part, because it's a uniqueness that is separate. We all have different souls. This is the whole idea. The individuation journey has not started 2 years ago when we started our self-mastery. It has started when we created a soul. When matter and spirit got together, and that was like, Lemurian times before. But I would say Lemurian times, we can start thinking along those lines. And this is maybe also why AB keeps talking about the 54 million years ago. That's a very big marker, right? Everything is about 54 million years. That's very much already the mid-cycle of the Lemurians, when we started, turning into the Atlanteans and started to work with our bodies a bit more. But, the uniqueness has always been there before. And the uniqueness of the soul imprint is not something you want to not appreciate, because that makes us the philosophies, the thinkers, the healers, and the scientists. Or when I look at the rays, the leaders, the teachers, the artists, the scientists, the devotees, and all of that. And then, of course, the realization that just like with the chakras, we can't even say there's a definition behind it anymore, because we have all the different soul rays aspects within ourselves. So when you do, I started thinking about this again because of my esoteric astrology chart. And then I realized, I'm like, oh my God, I've got everything of all these different 7 rays, one more, one less, And I'm like, this is so cool, right? Oh, this got fixed up.
It's like you have the melting pot.
Yeah, it's crazy. But what are we going to talk about once we gone beyond all that? We really got to start creating something new, because this old stuff, I'm running out of ideas. What could I study? Nothing anymore. This is interesting. And for some reason, going back to mythology all the time. Yes, of course we could all do that, but there must be something new. We must bring something new through. That's just my thing. Or is it just me not really wanting to study something in greater detail? That could well be the case.
That's bullshit.
That could well be the case. I can't. But what's so interesting for me is when I look at these things, it's superb for me, because there's so many different words that I can use, like the energy is nothing new to me, but it's like the words. It's like, oh yes, now I got a word that I can use, to change that sentence into something different. But the energy itself is, it's not necessarily that. And yes, I like hindsight and foresight and all of that. But what else is there, right? There must be something else other than hindsight and foresight. Or let's at least have more foresight. And this is again where that Mr. Galactic needs to come in a bit more. But
Martina, I would like to learn how I can do teletransportation with my physical body. Maybe so I would like to learn about that one.
you got to start practicing.
Right.
Literally, I don't think. I don't think it's a definition. It's not some. You got to start practicing. So I was doing a lot of distance treatments with my mom, and she said, "Well, I'd really like you. Would be nice if you could sit here." And I said, "Well, just imagine me sitting there, having a coffee, And I imagine it here, and it's we have the suspension of the belief system that we need to go through. Yeah? You got to believe that is a possibility, and I don't think for 1 minute that is not a possibility within the next couple of years if you can adapt your belief system to be in allowance of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Judgment, impossibility.
And that's really true what you said, because I remember one time I called my mother. I said, "Oh my God, I saw you here in front of me a few minutes ago." That's mean my energy body was there. And she noticed my presence there.
Absolutely. Celestial mediumship. Yes, that's
cool. Like one thing that like a word that's really grown on me lately is the context, and building the context, and how important it is to be able to build context. And it's really awesome, like how we've been learning the galactic history, how much context we've been building. Like we've been building universe and universe and universe, and we have beautiful kitties to look at, and but if we can't build the context, we won't be able to jump it into our reality or incorporate it into our dream. So first we got to build the context, we got to imagine it, we got to see it. And then you can see like, where do you actually have blockages in your context creating abilities? Like we all have certain parts in our life that, I can go on my mind and close my mind and build parts of a house. But there's certain people, hanging out with certain people, I can't imagine more than 10 minutes with them, like my imagination, my context building skills, it's blocked there. And if you can't generate that context, you won't be able to create it. And that's how important that is.
Kills the imagination. Yes. Environment is becoming more and more important.
And we've built so much context. And now we're becoming like creating beings and stepping into, dare I say, the exciting part, but it's where all the discipline and hard work, at least you get to see the fruits grow. The plants grow.
It's actually a very frustrating part, because you feel alone a lot, right? And this is also why so many of us are choosing to go don't want to call it destruction course, but the reorientation course. Yeah. So where we really have to surrender into that separation of density. There is a reason why lots of us find ourselves alone, not lonely, but alone. And I, so many times in the past, when I started this whole process, it's like so many people projecting, you become a salad, a hermit, you need to go. I'm like, fuck off. That really standing, following your inner compass. It's okay. You know what you're doing. And also, that's where hindsight comes in well, because you can say, look, we've done this. I have done this. I've done the old life. I was very good at it too. It's really just a choice now. So why are we choosing to be on our own? Well, because we are not really on our own, right? We're just working the astral realms. So this is another thing to really, really, really acknowledge. It's not just the dreaming when you move into the astral realm. As soon as you have a little conversation with yourself, you are talking to the astral realm. Literally. You close your eyes, you go into your alpha beta state, astral realm. Yeah?
Yes.
But we are already doing it. So we need to get back into the simplicity of it now. And you were talking about transportation.
Teletransportation.
Yeah, telethingy, yeah. So think of bilocation. Yeah. Oh, I would love to bilocate. You do it all the fucking time. I'm sitting here now thinking, oh, I'm going to go to my living room afterwards because that's where my TV is. I'm going to put the TV on. I'm already bilocating, just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Already seeing
There's the practice.
That's it. It's that simple. It's the simplicity of it, right?
And sometimes we won't practice. Like we have these blocks in ours and we refuse to, like, because you said it just with the long distance treatments with your mom. Imagine having a cup of coffee. That's the practice. Just saying, okay, I'm gonna imagine this instead of all those things that we imagine every single day out of just plain programming. But to expand beyond that and just let our imagination not quite run wild, but direct it with fierce intent to do what we want.
It means that you're going to put the intention, and then with the intention, you're going to do the practice, and then with the practice, you can do the manifestation, something like that.
Yeah, and it's not like, oh my God, I think now I'm sitting there with a coffee. No, just, okay, it's not, Mom, I'm there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I do? Often what I start doing when I do treatments now, in order to focus, just to keep my focus going, I do the treatment on myself and use myself as a surrogate. And then I always do a double whammy. Is it okay? Well, I have the treatment for myself too. I'll do both. One for me, one for you. Do one, get one free. Why not? Right? Right? Because we can.
Good, yeah, good context. Just doing it. Like it actually, like creating it and then doing it in your mind.
Yeah.
And doing it in the physical, whether that's doing a grid, writing it down, doing the treatments on yourself so that you're not just projecting it onto a hologram, like doing it in the physical.
Yeah, that's the final.
Yes.
Final
Right.
part.
That's
Very important. The
so
real dragon energy.
very much so. Writing, this is why everything, when I read something, I have my pencil there. I always have to write things down. That's how it comes out. And also if I don't, because I get so compulsive when I get stuck into something, it needs to come out. It's almost like, otherwise I can't digest it. I've always thinking of the information coming in just like food, because I use information as food, literally. When I get information in that I like, I don't need to eat. Which is not true, obviously, but I should be eating, but then I totally forget about the body until the body says hello. But my body is so, I'm not one of those people who needs to eat all the time or gets grumpy if I don't eat. No, it's like, but I need to get that information processed, and the process is either by doing a blog or, doing our shows, or writing things down, that kind of thing.
It's neat because this whole process kind of has its own hierarchical order to begin with, or a progression theory. But it's like, you want to do something and you start reading the books, and all of a sudden you're reading the books, and then you start doing mantras, or you start doing invocations or revocations, and all of a sudden now you start to have the imagination. You're seeing it in your mind. Okay, now that you have the imagination, you can start creating with it and writing down. So you're bringing it from thoughts. You're bringing it from something you've seen in the perhaps external or internal world, something you saw, and then you start acting on it, participating to the imagination to actually bring it into 3D reality.
Absolutely. And in addition to that, be aware of your soul impulsing. And I was looking at the soul impulses, because we always talk about signs. Well, what signs? And I've just walked the other day and I thought, a thought is an impulse. So this is again, oh, you can't have any thoughts, you need to get rid of your thoughts. No, some people are impulsed by their soul through a thought, right?
And just, this is just backpedaling a lot, but did everyone notice that after we played that game, a little bit after, we kind of turned the throttle on and all the things started pouring in and all the energy started getting turned up? Like it wasn't 5-10 minutes after that, it just, the lightning started coming into the room.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
we just played with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why you need to mix it up. And this is why we mixed it up.
It was pretty funny. It was, it was a lot of nonsense. Good old fashioned nonsense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Breaking the
Laughter,
dust.
because and I like what you just said, because nonsense, laughter, yes, but that was a form of laughter as well, not necessarily expressed through the ha-ha, but just doing something nonsensical.
Like rearranging your chakras. Like, I mean, it's nonsense. Like it's just mixing things up, but it puts everything in completely different perspective. And that gives you a whole new point of view.
Absolutely.
What I was thinking is that we became childlike there in the beginning in order to get serious again. And that childlikeness just, by us making up stories and then moving around the chakras, it's like being a little child and you're saying to your friends, well, let's do this and let's do that. You're using your imagination to do all this nonsensical things, but you're still having fun at the same time, right?
And there's another element to that, Lana, as well. Yes, there's another element to allow yourself to come in low. We think low. No. To allow yourself to just allow things to erupt, to come through, right? It doesn't matter how long it takes. And lots of people, oh, but this is not professional. We can't be professional. That was crap. Well, watch to the end, right? Watch to the end. What does that teach us? Never shortcut the process through judgment. Again, do not ever shortcut the celebration. Do never shortcut the disentanglement and all of that. Impatience? No such thing. Impatience makes you a patient. Just made that up. I'm sure SpongeBob's already got that.
Isn't that why there's so much foreplay before sex?
Thank you, Lana.
You got to work your way to
Check
that.
that out. Fantastic. Fantastic. So that was
just jump into it right
today.
away.
Fantastic. I love it. Fantastic.
So we did pretty good, I think.
Any
thoughts on the afterplay?
Lunch.
Because some people some people like to snuggle. I'm happy to move on.
Friday, I'm gonna go right back out to the movies.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch Avatar again.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
When is it
coming out?
And I'm no, not the new one. They're playing the old one, but in the theaters again.
Right.
I think
I'm gonna go give it a watch.
What about the new one? When is that one coming? That's been in
December.
December? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was out already.
Because I remember I watched the first one in theater, like in the IMAX, and like that was forever ago. And a lot has changed since then.
Yeah.
It's
been
I'm
a
gonna
while.
do that Friday. Set some time aside and just go do it.
I think this is going to bring more technology, more like a more clear disclosure about it, our reality.
Crazy tech.
Fabulous. Well, guys.
Lana, thank you for sending me the link about the show with Laura. I was very good about the queen. I really about the magic.
Yeah, like
the
Martina
broken or
couldn't.
the spell or the broken.
Yeah. It's like
Thank
Martina couldn't find that one show. You were
Mhm.
looking for the
Yeah.
one with Dale and Laura and couldn't find it either.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Well, I hope everyone can find our shows because they would be missing out if they don't.
Thank you. Last week show was very wonderful. I really enjoyed the crystal because I always have been very connected with the crystal energy, and it was a very, very good show. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're most welcome, and thank you for Tanya for doing that. Now she's obviously in Vegas at the moment, right? Having another crystal experience going on. So I'm sure she will be happy to share that with us when she gets back in 2 weeks' time. And so thank you for playing, boys and girls. Fantastic. We're gonna close for today. Anything, and then we'll see you next week, and we'll see what comes up in the meantime. And if you want to do what we said, this little introduction thing per person, we can do that. me. And we'll put you on, and we have questions for you, and you can just present whoever you are in a bit more focused perspective, if you would be so inclined. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a good one, everyone.
Have a good
Bye
one.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have fun.
Thanks for being
Smile.
here.